There's no shepherd in sight. Rebel heart beating strong under the stars at night. Little lamb gone rogue, dancing in the moonlight glow. Little lamb gone rogue.
Hello everybody. Welcome to my channel. I am the Pink Angry Lamb. I am an ExJw. I've been wanting to start this podcast / channel for a while now. I just didn't know how I was going to do it. And I know it required a lot. I'm a very busy person, but I do find that talking about things is very therapeutic. So I decided to go hard and, I said, why not? Let's start this channel. So, welcome to the Angry Pink Lamb. I want this to be a space where we explore life after leaving Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm your host, Hillary B. And while I won't be on screen, I'll be guiding you through this journey as we discuss what it's like to transition out of the organization. Whether you're here to learn or you're on a similar path yourself, I'm glad you found this space. A little background story on myself. I was born into the Jehovah's Witness religion. I am like the sixth child out of 7. Both of my parents were raised around the religion by their parents, and almost everyone on both sides of my family are witnesses. Oh, joy, right? Except for a few cousins and uncles who have been disfellowshipped, and they've been disfellowshipped for years. I've had cousins that were disfellowshipped for almost 20 years, and then they came back, but I'm pretty sure their reasons for coming back is because they wanted to be around their family, their mothers, their parents. That's really sad, but growing up, I was deeply involved in the religion. I mean, went door to door, did the whole nine. I actually loved it as a child. I mean, that was all I knew. I was a baby into this organization. So obviously, that's all I knew. I wholeheartedly believed its teachings and I looked forward to the paradise earth they promised. The animals, the My Book of Bible Stories, which now, when I look back on that, how gruesome the pictures were, but I look back on those times and I was a very happy child. I really enjoyed going to the meetings as a little girl. I really enjoyed going door to door because I felt like I was doing the right thing. Like any child, you grow up and you start to develop your own needs and your desires. I was torn between what I wanted for myself and what the organization expected from me. I went to college part time, but we all knew I went to like a community college. So I didn't go to a university. That was a big no. It wasn't encouraged, and my sister wanted to go away to college as well, but ironically it was my aunt who discouraged her, reminding her that the organization did not support it in higher education at all. 2 decades later, she still regrets that decision. My youngest, well, he's the youngest of my brothers, but I'm younger than him, but he is the youngest of all my brothers. He got baptized after he turned like well, after he graduated high school. He dipped. He was gone. He did not want anything to do with it. He pretty much left. Like no one knew where he was. I'm not fully out to all my family, so I guess you could pretty much call me a PMO, but I don't attend the meetings anymore. I don't participate. I don't participate in the text messages that they send. Those god awful text messages that they keep sending all the time. I mean, the only thing that I might participate in is the memorial, and that's just like a thing with Jehovah's Witnesses that they do. I don't even go to the assemblies anymore or conventions or anything like that. So that's not something that I participate in. But a lot of my family members do not know. Majority don't know how I feel, and I have a few that do, but they don't care. So, but they still participate in it, but they don't judge me off of that, which I'm very, very grateful of. But as I was saying, the youngest of my brothers, he left. The rest of my siblings, they still serve, so they still participate in it very heavily. For me, things started to change around the age of 20. I began rebelling. I guess what they would say rebelling, but I guess you can kind of call that becoming my own person. Like I wanted to date. I wanted to experience love. I wanted to experience sex, and something the organization really heavily controls. So with all these urges and stuff going on in my body, me seeing other people on dates, having children, just finding love, just finding ourselves, I don't want to say I was jealous, but I mean, well, maybe I did envy a little bit. Honestly, there were no available or attractive brothers my age, and I wasn't particularly interested in dating within the congregation anyway. It was very awkward. I was awkward at assemblies, and being a bit heavier as a teen made me feel like I didn't fit in with the cliques, and that seemed to form within the congregation. So I was very self-conscious of my body. Um, of course, as when I was a child, I was a lot smaller, but as I became a teenager, I did get heavier. And it just seems like when I went to the assembly, I felt like I was always being like shunned, as far as like I felt like I was being shunned anyway, even within the organization. So really, I would just walk around the assemblies, to be honest with you, eat my food, and a lot of times I would just go back and sit at my seat. I knew from an early age that I wasn't going to end up with a Jehovah's Witness as a husband or a mate. Probably around 18, 19 years old, I just think that I had like this inkling that I more likely would not be with a witness fellow. But at 21, I met someone outside the religion, and that's where my quote unquote rebellion really began. 2 years after that, later, I was disfellowshipped, of course, for the obvious, after someone told on me. And I was told to forgive that person because that person loved me. And that's why they told, even though that person was doing dirt themselves. So they told on themselves and then came around and told on me, which at the time we were both doing the same thing. So I didn't know she grew a conscience and started telling on herself, but she never came to me to tell what that she was even going to tell. I just found out that she had already told on me. She didn't even give me a chance. So I was kind of mad at that. But of course, I was told to forgive her. I still remember how invasive the elders were, the questions were, asking for intimate details about my relationship, about my intimacy with the guy that I was dealing with. I mean, why did they need to know all that? Why did they need to know so much? Like, why are they asking these detailed questions? If sex is a sin, and that's what I did, then all you need to know is, did I have sex? Why do you need to know so much? Needless to say, I didn't show any a repentant attitude and that they expected. So of course they did what they had to do. I actually didn't care at that point. I was young. I wouldn't even say so much that I was in love with that person, but I mean I was in love with that person, but after that we had been going through some problems anyway, but that's a whole nother story. Um I just had a repentant attitude, like when them telling me was I gonna leave him alone, and I'm just like, no, I'm not. So basically they let me go. But even after being disfellowship though, I still believed in the teaching. I just didn't want to follow the rules at that point in my life. So after 2 years, I got reinstated, mostly so I could talk to my mom again. I miss talking to her, to be honest. Now she would talk to me occasionally. My dad talked to me all the time. He didn't care. But my mom, she would still like, talk to me, and if I needed something from her, she still would deal with me. But I knew that that was something she felt guilty about, and I didn't want my mom feeling guilty. I mean, this was my decision, and like I said before, I still believed in the teaching, so I didn't want my mom to be destroyed because she was talking to me. So, um, I did what I had to do. I wrote the letter. You have to write a letter, and they have to see you at the meetings consistently. Like you can't even miss the meeting. So once you write that letter, even prior to the writing the letter, you have to show that you have been there. You know what I'm saying? Um, so after I showed that they saw that I really wanted to do it and be in and everything, I got reinstated. But you guys, I sinned again. I actually had like stopped doing what I was doing, so I took it kind of seriously. So, and I mean, circumstances made it impossible to deal with him too. Actually, went without dealing with him during that time that I was trying to do right, but I sinned again. This time though, I kept quiet until years later, another sister befriended me, and I let my guard down with her. I would go to the meetings, but I would leave immediately. So she noticed that, and she asked me out to dinner. She's like, hey, just want to come out to eat and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, cool. Something I'll do. Without even confessing anything to her, I found myself facing reproval after she spread our conversation. That's right. I didn't confess anything to her. I just gave her like very broad, you know, information, not even no details. I did not, like I said, I did not confess to anything, but, eventually all of that got over the congregation. So yeah, that situation was very messy. Maybe I will talk about that situation on this channel one day in depth. Maybe that'll be one video, one story time that I can tell you guys. Um, but Yeah, that's something I'll probably share on this channel in depth and make that its own little story. But let's fast forward to my mid-30s. And that's when I began to have serious doubts about this religion. I slowly started watching XJW content. And I was scared to watch, too much at first because, again, I was told not to watch that. We were not allowed to watch apostate information. Anything that went against Jehovah's Witnesses, anything bad that was said about Jehovah's Witnesses, we were not allowed to watch it. Not allowed. It was immediately turn away. But little by little, I started watching it. I realized that what I was watching actually made sense. 2 plus 2 equals 4. I came to the conclusion that not only are Jehovah's Witnesses teachings false, but the religion is in fact a cult. It's heartbreaking to realize that something I believe in my entire life was built on lies. I was a baby in this. I went to the hall as an infant. My father's side are witnesses. My mother's side are witnesses. This My whole family is embedded in being witnesses. Um, I feel deeply for my family because I now see them as brainwashed. They're only doing what they were taught though. So I can't blame them too much. Just like I was. I'm 30 years old, 30 something years old. They're only doing what they were taught. It's sad, but that's why I've started this channel. So others who feel the same way can know that they are not alone. I want to do something different from, you know, the average channel sometimes. Like, I know that I'm a faceless channel because, like, I have so many family that I just cannot come out. Regardless, I love my family. And I understand where in some cases some people might say, well, why don't you just, if they don't appreciate you, if they don't take you serious, then just leave. Just don't deal with them. If they don't love you for who you are. I have family that love me for who I am. I have family who also know that I don't want to do this anymore. And they don't bother me because I don't try to change their mind. If they come to me and ask me certain things, I know who to say certain things to. I don't cover it up. I don't try to be too fake with it. Like the family members who do know that I don't want to deal with it, we've had conversations and not gonna lie, sometimes it clicks in their head too. They're like, okay, I understand. But I think they're scared too. They're scared too. But I would like to do certain things on this channel. It's about sharing experiences and helping others to navigate life after the Jehovah's Witnesses. We'll discuss rebuilding relationships, mental health, finding a new community, and the complexities of leaving a high control group. I want to do reactions to certain XJW content, certain broadcasting from the JW broadcasting as well. A lot of XJW content brought me here and gave me the courage to give me a voice to speak up and talk about these things. I'm not here to like start a rally and be like, oh, go against JWs or whatever. That's not what I am. This is really more therapeutic for me. This is really just sometimes you just want to get it out. Stuff that's been bottled in for years. You just want to say it. It's not to like, I'm not here to bash JWs. I'm not here to stop the religion. That's not my mission. It's to stop it. It's to bring awareness. It's to bring awareness. To tell people you have a choice. You have a choice. And that no one should stop loving you because you decided to not participate in something that you do not believe in. That's fair. So I want to do those things, react to reaction channels. Sometimes come here and just say what's on my mind. Leave a. You're free to say the same thing. When I uh first left, I felt completely alone. It's hard to find others who understand the unique challenges that come with leaving a high control religion. That's why I created this podcast to build a community where we can support each other, we can share stories and learn from one another. Share your stories in the comments. Message me. I have an email. I will put that in the description. If you want to email me and you need someone to talk to, you need a pen pal or anything like that, I'm here Sometimes you just want someone to, maybe you can share something with me and I can share something with you that can help you get through this situation. If this resonates with you, if anything I've said, please subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any future episodes. I would love for this to be a place of conversation, so you can feel free to share your story or ask any questions in the comments below. I will really appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of my journey. Really looking forward to the conversations that we'll have here. Remember, you are not alone, and together we can figure this out. Peace and love to all of you out there in
Don't lab like
YouTube
pocket,
land.
this slow. Lamb broke free, this slow. Loan became the blow you hate to see. Broke free, little lamb gone broke. Dancing in the moonlight glow. Little lamb gone rogue. Where will this rebel go? Skipping through the fields, no shepherd in sight. Rebel heart beating strong under the stars at night.